Here's Emer coming in. Hello, and you're very, very welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. Hello, it's Greg Fry here. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Brexit. Oh yes, it's Brexit again. But more importantly, what supports are available to you and your business? There's a fantastic support by Enterprise Ireland, which we'll be talking about, called the Customs Grant. But whether it's information you're looking for, whether it's training you need, or whether it's financial support, our aim is to fuel you with as many of those links and supports as we can today. So that's our plan of attack. I think it's a good idea to maybe meet our guests.
Your local enterprise office, helping your business respond.
So here I am hiding. So let's meet today's fantastic guests. First, and literally just joined us a second ago, we have the amazing Emer O'Byrne. I'm going to bring Emer in. Hello, Emer.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. And Emer is from the Brexit division. So a senior executive at the Brexit division in Enterprise Ireland. So brilliant. So Emer's going to be talking about customs grants. There's a Brexit readiness checker. I can't wait. As ever through the show, if you have any questions for Emer or any of our other guests, just drop them in the comments section and we'll answer as many of them as possible throughout the show. So a big hello, Emer. Second up, we have the amazing John Reilly, looking very, very wonderful there. Very, very slick. John was saying there was a lot of time put on the hair and makeup today, but John is the head of enterprise at the local enterprise office in Sligo. And John's going to talk to us about some Brexit support from the local enterprise office, but also a big event taking place on Thursday, online Brexit event. So a big hello, John.
Hello, everybody.
Brilliant. And then last, but certainly not least, there's Simon. Can we see Simon? So Simon is the Chief Financial Officer at a Wicklow-based company called Hubcat. And Hubcap, I would say, it's rude for me to say a small business, but a small Wicklow business making big waves internationally. So we want to talk to Simon. How's he doing that? And again, how you guys are preparing for Brexit. And I mean, I think it's like Noel Edmonds says. You know what Noel Edmonds says? Deal or no deal? It doesn't matter whether it's deal or no deal, guys. From January 2021, how we do business with the UK is changing, whether we like it or not. And now is the time to prepare ourselves. First up, I'm going to remove Emer and Simon for a second. Sorry, guys, we'll be back to you in a little bit. I want to grab John for a second. John, based in Sligo, very close to the border there, how are Sligo businesses preparing for Brexit?
Okay, Greg, and again, good afternoon, everybody. There's a mixed preparation level in my experience, if I'm honest about it, from some people who are very good and are and have been prepared for a long time back, to some traders who are still saying, let's wait and see what happens, which to my mind is a dangerous approach to take. For those who have prepared well, I suppose by way of examples, very shortly after the whole Brexit divorce was, if we call it that, was announced by Britain, at an example of a company here who immediately looked at a very small company employing 2 people, but importing product to make a particular type of machine for application in the agricultural area. And they immediately started looking at all of their supply lines, went off, sourced an alternative producer in Germany, got what they tell me is a superior product at a superior price for a more reliable, dependable service. So in their case, they chose to take Britain completely out of the loop. They had previously been sourcing their components from a supplier in Britain. And from that, at that type of end of the spectrum, and we've other examples of people who have really upped their online presence, who have use the supports that are there to focus on breaking into markets other than Britain. And of course, we always want to remember the British market is and will continue to remain important for us, and hopefully that will be the case for the vast majority of businesses. But this is an opportunity for people to stand back and to look further afield. But at the other end of the spectrum, we have mentors working with businesses at the moment and contacting them on our behalves, as many as we can, to say, to ask the question, do you know how Brexit might impact on you? And disappointingly, we're still getting a small number of responses to say, if there's going to be a deal, we're all happy. And if there's not a deal, whatever duties are applied to me will apply to my competitors. And that is patently not the case, because there will be customs documentation required for everybody who imports and exports to Great Britain from the 1st of January next. And even at that very level, businesses want to be really, really prepared for what's coming. They also, even for those businesses who are buying components locally, our advice would be to ensure that they have some assurance that the person that they're buying for, the business they're buying from locally, is itself prepared for Brexit, so that their goods are not held in a port while they're scrambling to do documentation in early January, and the person that's a little bit down the chain is left waiting for their components.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it'd be an absolute disaster. I mean, if I'm importing or exporting and my stuff is held up in customs and it's not getting to my customer or not getting the components I need to manufacture my goods, it's a disaster. So now is the time to act. You talk about that, people being a little bit complacent, and we're seeing that across the board, where we're kind of waiting to see what happens. That's a disaster. What's the big advice that you're giving local businesses in Sligo when it comes to preparing for Brexit at the moment?
Well, the very first piece of advice that we're giving clients is to log on to the supports that are available through not alone through our own office, but through other organizations, other offices as well. But certainly in our case, localenterprise.ie/Brexit, and you will get the events that are coming up in the Sligo context, or the Waterford or the Dublin or the Cork or wherever. They're all up there, and log into them, and please do that and get the information on what is coming up for you. I suppose more specifically, I have a background, but it's a long time back. I worked in customs and excise. I was a young fella in 1980, 86 or something, when the single administrative document was being introduced. And the single administrative document is the key document that will be required for import, export, and what's called transit of goods through the EU. It applies already, but it only applies to countries who are non-EU countries, or certain other ones like Iceland, Norway, and Switzerland. But from that date, Britain will be what the EU classifies as a third country, or a country that is outside of the EU, and that documentation is required. That document comes in 8 parts. In Ireland here, it must be filled electronically. The customs here will not take the paper version of it. The second key piece of advice for traders who are trading with Britain is you must register for an EORI number, or an Economic Operator Registration Identification Number. And that you can do it through revenue.ie, or if you use a facility called a customs clearance agent. And customs clearance agents, there was a time when there were lots of customs clearance agents about, but since the single market, their numbers have dwindled. And really, when it comes to completion of customs documentation, to my mind, you have 3 choices. You can do it yourself. complicated enough document to do it the first time around. If you're importing and exporting the same product lines, once you have it done a few times, like everything else, it becomes easier. There is a big piece of information in there called a classification number, which is a number that most people will not have.
Yeah.
And for example, if you look at the pen that I'm holding in my hand, if I hold up a different type of pen, this pen might be classified as it's a big 8, 10, whatever it is, digit number. Because this one is largely made of steel, for example, it might be classified to take into account the steel component of it. Another one that might be made of plastic would be classified to take into account the plastic component of it. If you get the classification wrong, your goods will be held in customs until that is put right. It is as simple as that.
Brilliant.
So you go to a customs clearance agent. They do that for you. Or while I can't obviously recommend any provider over another provider, I am aware that in one of the previous Lunch and Learn events that you had, there was reference to an organization, an online facility called DECLARON.IE.
Correct.
I don't know them, but it seemed to make a lot of sense to me. But I would say use a customs clearance agent that won't leave you down.
Sure.
If you're let down, your goods are left in the port until you sort out the issue, or they do.
Sure. I'm feeling completely overwhelmed, which I'm sure so many businesses are, as you're even speaking there, John. Like it's, I think one of the problems with small businesses is we ignore the stuff that we're most uncomfortable with. And I think for a lot of small businesses, this is a very uncomfortable issue coming down the line, and we're not quite sure where to start. I think when it comes to, we'll talk to you a little bit later about local enterprise supports, but I think what we need as small businesses, we need information. For a lot of us, we need training to actually understand that, how that information actually applies to us and our business. And we may need advice as regards mentoring support and maybe even financial support in order to make this happen for our business. Fortunately, there's a lot out there, but there's an event taking place this coming Thursday, which I know is supported through the local enterprise office, which may be a good starting point for some of the viewers to actually sign up and attend. Tell us a little bit about this event. It says, "Are you Brexit ready? Meet the experts." Taking place this Thursday online between 2 and 5. Tell us a little bit more about this event, John.
Sure, Greg. This event, it comprises, I think it's 34, 36 experts who are on hand to speak to businesses who need advice, be they importing, exporting, on a one-to-one basis. The way it operates is you pre-book a 20-minute slot with various experts across fields, from consultancy to movers of international trade to the type of accountancy firms that are involved in international trade, that type of thing. You put your questions to them, you're matched with whoever best suits your needs. As I say, you have the 20 minutes, and the good news, this has been organized by my colleague Michael Tunney in Donegal, and I've spoken to him earlier on this morning. There are still places available. This event is also being run in conjunction, by the local enterprise offices nationally, piloted by or led by Donegal, but with the support of the Enterprise Europe network. And that particular network is an entity which we work with, again, to help our companies to identify markets and to trade overseas.
Okay, so I see registrations are open till tomorrow. So it's registrations close November the 11th. So really important that if interested, sign up. It seems like a super resource. And even throughout the course of today's session, we may write down questions that we need answers to. So if you're wondering where you can go to register for this particular event, down the very bottom of the screen, it's bit.ly/Brexit. That's a capital B, event, capital E, NOV, capital N12. So you'll see the link. I'll share it with you guys at the very end as well. But if that event does appeal to you, sign up for today. It runs between 2 and 5 on Thursday. So it's a no-brainer. I think for a lot of our businesses overwhelmed, knowledge is power, and knowledge will alleviate some of the fear that we all have. So now is the time for action. John, thanks so much. I want to bring you back in a little bit to talk about some specifically local enterprise office supports, such as the customs workshops that you guys provide. So thanks so much. I want to bring Emer O'Byrne in. So Emer O'Byrne from Enterprise Ireland. So Emer,
for having me, Greg. Delighted to be here.
It's great to have you. So you're busy working in the Brexit unit in Enterprise Ireland. One fantastic resource that you guys have, which I want to get into, is a thing called the Brexit Readiness Checker. What exactly is the Brexit Readiness Checker?
Well, I mean, the conversation between yourself and John up until now has really teed this up nicely because, as you say, there is an awful lot of uncertainty for businesses. And you know, Brexit is really looming large, 51 days to go as of today. And what we are finding in our discussions, as John mentioned, there is a variation in terms of level of preparedness. And in a recent survey that was done, we could see that 1 in 4 companies actually really weren't sure of the steps they needed to take. And in some cases, as you said, Greg, kind of feel almost a little bit overwhelmed. So what Enterprise Ireland did to help prepare companies is develop this tool, this Brexit Readiness Checker. It's simple, it's online, the link is up there, it's free. It takes only 10 to 15 minutes to gauge your Brexit readiness. And at the end of it, you are going to have an individual report that is sent to you with information on the key terms that are involved in Brexit and all of the areas like that has been mentioned before: customs, logistics, supply chain, EORI numbers. What does that mean? And it gives you the information of what you need to do next on the basis of the answers. So as I say, simple, straightforward to use. The questions are yes, no, in progress. You know, and what we're encouraging companies to do is be honest, you know, and if you haven't prepared in the particular area, you are going to get the information on what it is that you need to do next to get to that point of preparedness. Sorry, Greg, I can't hear you at the moment. Apologies. I don't know if I've done something wrong.
No, I'm just saying this is not an exam that we want to cheat on. This is a fantastic resource that we can use. So it's an absolute no-brainer. And I think what often happens with small businesses is sometimes we think Brexit affects bigger businesses, not us as small businesses. So we think, well, we only import a little bit from the UK. We only sell a little bit to the UK, so it doesn't really affect us. It does. So this is an absolute must to fill out.
Absolutely. And even if you have already started your Brexit preparations, and you know, we credit to all those companies who are making Brexit preparations, there is so much to think about. And what the Brexit Readiness Checker is, it looks at all the kind of the 9 key areas that are really, really important. And it takes you through a set of questions that, you know, will ensure that there's things that you may have missed. You know, the things that you haven't been fully aware of, you may have seen in passing, but you actually need to take more action on particular areas, and depending on the nature of your business. So, for example, if you're moving goods as opposed to a service provider, you know, the service providers in some cases can skip some of these questions. But if you are moving goods, if you are trading with the UK after January 1st, there are steps that you need to take. And this Brexit Readiness Checker will take you through that in a very kind of simple, straightforward way. As you say, it's not meant to be an exam.
So, and again, to be very basic, but I mean, so who is it for? So it's for everyone, really. But who is it?
It's for everyone. Yeah, it's for everyone. And I should also really point out that it's not just for Enterprise Ireland client companies. So it is for Leo companies, for micro companies, for anybody who is trading with the UK. Anybody who is that, they should be looking at this. And regardless of your level of preparation, you should have a look at this. What you will need at this point in time, given we 51 days to go, is a a plan of action that is simple and straightforward to implement. And that's what this will do for you. If there's areas that you've already made good progress on, it will come up lovely and green. Well done, you. Keep an eye on what's happening. But if there's amber or red areas that you haven't had an opportunity to get behind, this is going to be that plan of action. And we would ask companies to undertake it and then say who in the company is actually going to carry out these actions, because they need to be focused on now. Some of the actions that will come out of the Brexit readiness checker need a bit of time to implement. So that's why really the time is now to act. Have a look at this readiness checker, see what it is telling in relation to your company's preparedness, and take action.
Sure. And say it flags something and I'm not quite sure where to start. I mean, I would imagine if you're a local enterprise office client or you're a small business, an obvious thing is just to email or to phone up the local enterprise office and say, help, I need help in this area. If you're an Enterprise Ireland client, same thing, help, I need help in this area. Is that what you'd recommend?
Absolutely. And I suppose what the good thing is with this particular checker is going to do is that you're not just saying help with Brexit, you're actually saying help with the particular issue that has been identified. And that makes it easier for the person at the other end of the phone or the email to actually say, okay, you're interested in knowing more about this EORI number, for example. Let me give you the link to the revenue website where you can register within a couple of minutes. So again, it's directing those conversations. As you say, sometimes people can feel almost overwhelmed as where do I start? Well, actually, this is going to give you those key areas that you need to look at and where you need to go next.
Okay, fantastic. So that is we said it wasn't homework, but that's your homework for the afternoon. Now, don't cheat on it, but that's a no-brainer for our business. So if you haven't done it, no matter where you are with the Brexit preparation process, check out this website, run the Brexit readiness checker, see where you're strong and see where you're weak. Because what do you say, 51 days?
51 days. Yeah, I mean, it really is crazy with the way that the time is just ticking by.
Yeah, that's pretty frightening, guys. So we need to take action now. So that's absolutely brilliant. Not the 51 days, but the resource. So check it out. Prepare for breakfast. Brexit.com/Brexit readiness checker. Talking about support. So what financial supports are available for businesses preparing for Brexit? I know there's a new grant out there. I'll just pull it up on the screen there. Maybe you can talk us through it. It's the Ready for Customs grant. Tell us about the Ready for Customs grant, Emer.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the thing about the Ready for Customs grant, we have an awful lot of uncertainty in relation to what's going to happen on January 1st. And that can mean that some people, almost as we said, are maybe taking a little bit of a step backwards. But there is absolute certainty in relation to customs and the requirements for customs declarations. And I think John has made that point as well earlier on. So regardless of the deal, customs declarations are going to be required from January 1st. And there's a recognition that there isn't the capacity in the system that in relation to customs experience and agents and expertise. So the capacity needs to be built. We need to look at understanding who are the people within the business who are going to undertake the customs declarations, and there is supports available for your business to support you with that upfront cost. So the cost to take on either a new person in a full-time role or importantly, redeploying somebody within your business into a customs role can be supported. This is not just for Enterprise Ireland client companies, really important point to make. You can see the details there about who it is available or who is eligible to access the grant, but it's €9,000. So we recognize that this is, as I say, not going to add to your sales. It's not going to add to your profit line. It is an investment that is required, which can be supported through this Ready for Customs grant. And also point to make is that we have tried to simplify the application process so that it is easy for people.
We just lost Emer there temporarily.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Emer. Yep.
Apologies about that. So just to repeat then, application form is as simplified as possible. There's help out there. You've got the information about the prepareforbrexit.com/Ready for Customs, but the telephone number for our Brexit unit is 01727 2727. There's also an email address, readyforcustoms@enterprise-ireland.com. I'll share those details with Greg so that we can make sure we get that information out. But the prepareforbrexit.com website, that's the place really to go for information on both the Ready for Customs grant, as well as all of the other supports that are available from Enterprise Ireland, as well as the LEOs, as well as other agencies.
Fantastic. And just the Ready for Customs grant again. I think very often when it's an Enterprise Ireland initiative, a lot of small businesses go, well, that probably doesn't apply to me. So explain to me exactly who can qualify for this Ready for Customs grant.
Yeah, so I suppose, I mean, as it says there, we are looking at supporting beyond Enterprise Ireland companies, of course.
Yeah.
So it's anybody who is involved in, as you can see in that first bullet point, freight, haulage, logistics provider, or they're a customs intermediary. But I suppose maybe the last bullet point is probably most relevant to the companies listening today. If you are directly engaged in business activities with or through the UK, you are eligible to seek this grant. So it is something that you should absolutely put your hand up and say, look, this is something that we want to get access to. If you have any questions, we are here to support you in relation to the questions. And the other point to make is that this scheme is open until the 15th of December only. So this is really something that you need to take action on now. As I say, we are here to support you if you've questions in relation to your eligibility, but please get in touch, apply now for the grant, and look at to understand, is it somebody within your business who's going to undertake these custom declarations, or is it somebody new that you could hire in to perform these customs declarations?
So there's so this is an absolute no-brainer. But the big thing that was mentioned there was the 15th of November. So the 15th of November is coming fast. So let's
sorry, Greg, that was my fault if I said 15th of November. 15th of December.
Oh, 15th of December. Okay, 15th of December. Well, there's nothing like getting people motivated to look into it now. So if you are listening to this today and you're thinking, oh, maybe I'll look into this, or maybe this applies for me, look into it. It's as simple as that. The link again, where you can find out more about the customs grant, is down below there. It's bit.ly/customs grant. It will take you to this page where it's got the information, including the telephone number, the email address which you can contact, and most importantly, the big apply now button. So that's really, really important. Emer, you also today's all about events, and we talked about Brexit, seizing upon the knowledge that we need to take action. And I know Enterprise Ireland have a big event tomorrow, isn't it? Do you have an event tomorrow?
Right, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about tomorrow's event.
Yeah, so thanks, Greg, for the opportunity just to talk about this. I mean, all of the issues that we've been talking about in relation to Brexit, there's always that bit of Brexit fatigue because of customs, logistics, supply chain. These are things that we hear constantly and have heard constantly for the last number of years. But there are areas that are going to be impacted, where there's going to be an impact from Brexit, and intellectual property is one of those areas. And it's kind of gone a little bit under the radar, and it's kind of something that we've been kind of aware of, that Brexit is going to have an impact on intellectual property. Intellectual property is one of those things that are extremely valuable to companies. It's an asset. It is fundamental for companies to grow and to scale and to export. And Brexit represents a risk for intellectual property in some particular forms, in particular trademarks and design rights. But this is a really specialized area. So we were really actually delighted to partner up with an IP attorney firm, McLaughlin and Donaldson, who are experts in this field, and they are available. They're going to take us through all of the forms of intellectual property. What is it? Which are the ones that are going to be affected by Brexit? Which are the ones that are not changing? And what are the actions that you as your company need to take if it is the case that you're going to be impacted? And that's taking place tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So I know time is short, but hopefully with it being kind of a lunchtime slot, people might be available to log in. The information there in relation to registration is there. Please, we were not limited, so there's no issue in terms of space. So please go ahead and register for that event if intellectual property is something that could impact you on January 1st.
Yeah, explain to me very quickly what exactly is intellectual property. Just if we're watching this today and we're not sure whether this event is of relevance to us or not. So just explain to us a little bit what intellectual property is and how it would relate to Brexit.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a good question. I mean, there's so many different forms of intellectual property, and I'd have to say I'm not an expert, but for
Sure.
example, your brand. If your brand is really important to you, there is going to be implications for Brexit if you trade with the UK. So, I mean, you have to consider, is this something that will be an impact for you? And I think really tomorrow is the way to find that out. There
Sure.
are some areas, for example, like patents, which are not going to be affected by Brexit, but there are specific areas. And if you are a company who rely on your brand, so in particular, I suppose you'd be highlighting food companies, healthcare companies. You'd be talking about kind of things like furniture, consumer goods. So if you're a company like that, this is definitely something for you to log into tomorrow and find out more information.
Fantastic. Okay, great stuff. So just one last time. Let's just put the link back up there. But that's fantastic. A few questions coming in now, Emer. I'm going to throw a couple in your up now in a second. Actually, we'll put the link up there as we're looking at some of the some of the questions. Okay. There we go. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the questions. I don't know whether we can help with this, but there's a Caroline. So a big hello to Caroline. Caroline's asking, where do companies go for VAT support regarding Brexit? Any advice there?
Well, that would be one of the areas that is covered under the Brexit Readiness Checker. So, Caroline, I
Right.
really encourage you to do the Brexit Readiness Checker. And that is a question that comes up as part of the currency and financial area. And the information there as to where to go next, what supports are available, is provided as part of that personalised report that you get at the end of it.
Fantastic. Thanks for the question, Caroline. And then we have Anne Marie. So Anne saying, is the grant, presumably the customs grant, for business already engaged in business activities for those who plan to have business activities? So is it only for guys that have the business activities, or people that are planning business activities? Can they look at this too?
I suppose that's a good question. I'm not 100% sure on what I'd suggest is there is a question where I would go and ask for advice on that one. I mean, typically, yes, it is for companies who are already engaged in trading with the UK. That is the answer that I would give.
Sure.
But if it's something that is kind of, there's plans that are in the short term that are coming up, I certainly think that you should put your hand up and ask, contact our department our telephone line, or our colleagues there will be happy to help you with that one.
Yeah, and as we can see there when we go to the page and you referenced it earlier on, there's a telephone number that we can go and reference. So that's fantastic. And again, a question which I'm not sure whether we're able to answer, because I don't think it's that straightforward. Where is it here? This was from Donica, I think. What will the customs clearance fee charged by Irish Customs for clearing goods being imported from the UK be from January?
Yeah, I'm afraid I couldn't give the answer to that, other than to say there is going to be additional costs for all companies if you are trading with the UK. So what I would really suggest there again is have a look at the information on the prepareforbrexit.com website, because not only is the information there on the Brexit Readiness Checker and the Ready for Customs grant, but there is also kind of different insight pieces in areas like VAT, like customs clearance, that take you into detail with the experts in this field, in this area. So I hope, Donica, you'll be able to find an answer to that question if you look at that prepareforbrexit.com website.
Sure. And now's the time to make phone calls and ask questions. So be proactive. Get onto your local enterprise office, find out the right person to contact, and don't sit there wondering what the answer is. Get the answer that you need. Andrew, is there any information in relation to products just transitioning from the UK to Europe? So presumably going through the UK but not stopping there. Can you give us some thoughts there?
Yeah, this is the issue that's called the land bridge. So where you are not actually you're not trading with the UK, you're using it as a means to get to Europe. And from what I understand, it has been used for such a long period of time. The UK as this land bridge to get to Europe. It's cheaper and it's also more quick. It's quicker to actually get your goods to Europe through the land bridge. As far as I understand it, look, there is still going to be difficulties there with it. You know, I think there is going to be disruption no matter what happens on the 1st of January. And we are encouraging companies to look at other options if that's possible. It may not always be possible because of, let's say, perishable goods like food, for example, but there are options to go directly to Europe with different ports. Albeit that there is maybe an extra cost associated with it, what it does is it takes out the need for customs declaration forms, you know, which are required even for transitioning through the UK. So that is really something to have a look at and to see whether or not it's viable for your business.
Okay, thanks for that, Andrew. A couple of other quick questions, and then I want to bring in Simon. Simon's still there. He's there. He's all relaxed now because he's not speaking. So we'll get Simon in a second.
You might be able to offer some insights as well
No,
into some of these areas.
Absolutely. No pressure, Simon. I swear to God, I don't see him in the green room shaking his head like that at the moment. Now, this is something that John mentioned, but a question that a lot of people they're only hearing about this number now. Do I need an EORI number? ? And how do I get one? Now, I know John referenced this earlier on. So first up, what exactly is this EORI number?
So, I mean, absolutely, it is a requirement if you're trading with the UK. And
Yep.
the good thing about it, again, it also forms part of the Brexit readiness checker, just to say that.
Right.
But it is one of the most simplest things to get, which is something pleasant to be able to say to people. This is not something that takes weeks. Supposedly, it takes a matter of minutes on the revenue website. Again, what I would say to anybody with questions about that, do the Brexit readiness checker, because not only does it take you through those key areas, but it explains some of these key terms that people maybe have heard in the media, or me or John or yourself, Greg, or others talking about and have been almost afraid to ask. The checker explains everything. What is this and why is it needed? And if you haven't got it, where do you get it? And that link. So that will come to you in that plan, which is automatically generated and sent to you.
Fantastic. Great stuff. And the last question that gets in is, what exactly should we be asking our UK suppliers with regards to them importing into Ireland? So if we're so I mean, you'd like to think that the UK businesses are preparing as well, but you know, what kind of things do we need to ask them and make sure that they have in place if they're importing their products into our country?
Well, you know, what I would say for the UK companies as well, it's similar to our own in that there is still a huge amount of uncertainty, and with uncertainty cause delay. And so what I would say to people who are supplying product from the UK, speak to your suppliers and ask them, what are their plans? How are they going to deliver the product? What are they taking responsibility for? And what are they asking you to take responsibility for in relation to customs? And be explicit in that. You know, don't leave it to the 1st of January when you're looking for that really important product. So find out what their plans are, who's doing what, and if it is the case that you know you're going to need product supplies in the first couple of weeks of January, can you actually source that now from them over the course of the next 50 days, as we've said, so that you have it in place? Because I suppose, as I say, what I suppose we really anticipate is going to happen is that there is going to be disruption in those first few weeks of January. So if you can prepare and have as much done as possible and have product, goods, supplies in Ireland to help you and your business, we would really suggest that you do that.
Okay, and that was the last question. But again, I'm going to go for one more quickly, because now we're flooding in. But Jane's saying is, if you're not registered for VAT, do you still need an EORI number?
I'm sorry, Jane, I don't have the answer to that. That really is something that people would need to kind of have a specialist in this area. And I wouldn't want to give you the wrong steer. So again, what I would say to, as we've said all along, look at the Brexit readiness checker. If that doesn't give you the information you're looking for, reach out, as Greg has said, to, if you're an Enterprise Ireland kind company, reach out to us. If you're a Leo company, reach out to your contact point there. Find somebody who's going to be able to give you the information to the questions that you have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I nearly assume that I need it and go and investigate it rather than assume I don't.
Exactly. And it is something that is one of the more straightforward things to do. So go ahead and get that EORI number from the revenue.
Yeah, and we have wonderful John there. There's John. Tell you, John. So you just said you sent me some smoke signals there, and you said that the EORI number is needed regardless of whether you're VAT or not VAT registered. Is that correct?
That is the case. And actually, while there was a previous question there earlier on VAT, the rule of thumb on VAT is that it is payable at the point of entry, again, unless you're registered for VAT, in which case there's a deferred payment system. And that I would recommend, at least in the initial stages, get your customs clearance agent to look after that for you.
Okay.
There was also, sorry, very quickly in the context. Sorry, I have had a background in customs, so I'm cheating here a little bit, but it's from many years ago. But for transiting through the UK to Great Britain, sorry, not the UK because the North is separate from this arrangement, but for transiting through Great Britain as a third country in EU terms, there is the single administrative document. There are elements within that apply specifically to goods in transit. And we are then talking about British VAT and making sure that you don't get caught to pay that before the goods transit right across across Great Britain. So again, use a customs clearance agent for that until you get used to the process.
Now, you're going to be sorry you came in now, John. Stephen said, where can we find out detail regarding import tariffs the UK intend to put in place? Any tips or advice there?
On tariffs won't be put in place by the UK. Tariffs will be put in place if there isn't a deal and World Trade Organization type stuff applies, or if there is a deal that only this gets very complex, and I'm conscious of maybe losing people with some of this, but whether or not there will be tariffs. By tariffs, we mean customs duties and customs duties only. This is different to the VAT and the excise duties that can apply to other goods. So for tariffs, as I said, this depends on whether there's a deal, whether there's not a deal, and what, if there is a deal, what that deal looks like. Because you could conceivably have a deal that would cover most products, but maybe not quite all of them, and some of them would be caught for certain types of tariffs.
Brilliant. Okay, fantastic stuff. John, I'm going to mine your brain for more information in a little bit. I do want to bring in Simon, and we will mine his brain too. I want to say a huge thank you to Emer. Wonderful words of wisdom. I'm freaked out about Brexit, but I'm less freaked out thanks to the Brexit readiness checker. So the reality is that's my starting point. So thanks so much for sharing all. Really appreciate it. Let's bring in Simon there. There he is. Waiting patiently. Yep. We can remove that banner at the bottom that says "Still to come," Simon, because he's here. So he's here. So we don't need that anymore. So Simon, you're very, very welcome. Tell us who are Hubcat based in Wicklow? Tell us about the business.
Okay. So firstly, Greg, thanks for the opportunity to be on this webinar. Really appreciate it. So Hubcat is a technology company that specializes in next generation two-way communication. So what does that mean? Well, it's like it's based on the old-fashioned walkie-talkie style communication, but now with no geographic limitation. It's on a secure private network. It has geolocation features as well as alarm functionality. The solution sits on a mobile phone and it has really nationwide coverage. It allows users to push a button and talk via message, so you can instantly communicate to one person, or you can communicate to 1,000 people in your organization. What's more, it's allows everything to be monitored in a central system back at your company headquarters. All our personal data is anonymized. It allows communication to be fully encrypted, and so all conversations, locations, and times can be stored for an audit purpose. It's really about bringing safety and peace of mind to aspects of an organization's data, and also looking after your people. So what does that sort of mean in real life examples? So initially when we started the business about 12 months ago, our business plan was based on doing a lot of work in the events and hospitality section. So you can imagine you're at a festival, and instead of having someone having a big, massive walkie-talkie, instead they've got it on a mobile device, so you can have exactly the same sort of communication on a mobile device. So it's much, very good from a sort of, enhanced sort of communication. Now, obviously with COVID, that meant that we had to sort of change and pivot to what we were doing. So from an island perspective, we're doing a lot of work in facilities management. So examples are at Sanofi in Waterford and Marks and Spencer. So we do like the security for say a Marks and Spencer store in Dublin, where they're on different levels of the store. They can sort of communicate with different people. So it's working well there. You mentioned earlier that we are sort of making waves abroad. So examples would be that a real example of this is we have work in Haiti with both the ambulance force and the police. So a real life example was in Haiti. Obviously, it's a dangerous place, and one of the ambulances went down the wrong side of the track and started getting shot at. So they're able to push the panic button, and suddenly get all the police were straight there within a second, so they could get them out of there. Another area that we looked at with COVID, as we actually pivoted our, we thought we had a lot of thinking about what we could do. So we actually pivoted our solution to provide us a COVID solution. So we pitched against 7 other companies in the Bahamas, and amazingly, we actually won the Bahamas track and trace for COVID. And what that involves is that as a couple of things. So firstly, when visitors arrive in the Bahamas, they have to download our app at the airport, and that basically means that they then can be tracked to where they're going to be for 14 days. So they're actually geofenced in a location, so that they have to stay in that location for 14 days and can't wander about. It's also for if somebody's actually got positive COVID in Bahamas, where they also put our app on the phone, and then they would then be located at their home. But also allows, based on the sort of care side of it, is that nurses and other people can sort of ring in, or they can sort of speak to people to if they're in trouble or need help. So it's sort of a care, but also sort of command, product.
Brilliant. So amazing stuff, and amazing adapting to the changing climate thanks to COVID, which is fantastic. So getting back to Brexit, so will Brexit affect your business, and how will it affect your business?
Yes, it will. I mean, we do work both in Northern Ireland and the UK. So we have some contracts in Northern Ireland and also the UK. So we've had to look, some of the things that John and Emer have mentioned, that we've looked at. So for instance, we've changed some of our suppliers. So we used to have a UK supplier. We're now, for the Irish business, are now going out of Germany. So we're using that. We've still got a UK supplier for the UK. We're obviously, working through. We've had to get the registration number that was mentioned before. And we're just, making sure that going forward that we're keeping a track of everything. Obviously, with the help of Leo, and these forums really help, give you the information to sort of track what's happening. So it has had an impact on our business, but we feel that working with Leo and the information that we're getting is that we're keeping an eye on it and tracking it through. Brilliant.
You were looking as a business. I know you were looking to launch into the UK in 2021. Has that strategic move changed because of Brexit, or where are you with that?
I'd say it's not necessarily because of Brexit, more because of COVID. Things slowed down, so we were a bit more cautious. But we are looking to go into the UK, probably through. Some of our international companies in Ireland that, like say Marks and Spencer's or a Bidfest, where we can work with them, who have companies in Ireland, and we will look towards in the UK, but probably more in the back half of 2021. So we are looking at it. We're going to go cautiously into it, and obviously work through, in terms of how Brexit is, the challenges that Brexit's going to bring.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's Mystic Meg stuff, but obviously we need to react to it. So what are the main things you've done as a business to kind of prepare for Brexit? So if I was another business watching today and I'm looking at you guys, what have you done already and got in place that maybe I haven't, that I should do?
Well, the first thing I did, I worked with the local enterprise office down in Wicklow. They have I guess all the local have so much information that you can use. They put me in touch with an online course. It was meant to be like a full day course, but obviously with COVID, it was 3 sessions over 2 hours each day. It was an absolutely amazing course. It's fully informative. There's so much information that you can find. But the main thing is you have someone to contact. It also gave you so many links. So, that you can then click on and, for your specific business. So, I did that. And then, from a Leo perspective, obviously they also bring through communication as well. So you get emails, and the local office is very, very proactive in sort of informing the local, customers and clients. Obviously you need to look at your suppliers. So as mentioned, we went to Germany. That may not be an option for all of you. You may have a specific client in the UK. If that's the case, you then need to work through the various rules and regulations, and you can get that on the the websites that that you've seen today, and also that you can also get on the Leo and the Enterprise Ireland website. So that's what you need to do, and then obviously work with your suppliers to get your registration. We also got that, which was mentioned, the ERI, and then from there you need to get your customs agent as well. So you need to sort of go down that route as well.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. So down the very bottom of the screen, it's localenterprise.ie/Brexit. Check it out. That's certainly a great starting point to look at local enterprise office resources that will help you navigate the uncertainty of Brexit. Is that a Newcastle United jersey?
It is. It is, yes.
You see, it's amazing what you learn in Lunch and Learn. So if there's a quiz, what's Simon Smith from Hubcat's favourite team? My money's on Newcastle United. So at least you have Jeff Hendrick pulling the strings for you this year.
Not doing bad.
There you go. So thank you so much for joining us, Simon. I look forward to seeing Hubcat go from strength to strength and build its reputation internationally. I find it also fascinating, and this is a common theme that I'm hearing from businesses, that you've navigated from some UK suppliers to German suppliers. It seems like Germany can be a bit of a winner here. But again, if you're dealing with the UK, it's probably a good time to see what other suppliers are out there that have better products, cheaper products for your business. So thanks so much for joining us. It's absolutely brilliant. Really appreciate it. John, it's back to you, John. So, John, quick one for you. Let's talk about the local enterprise office specifically now and what supports are available. We're looking at the website there. Localenterprise.ie/Brexit. What can I find on that website when I click into that link, and what support do the local enterprise office offer me?
Okay, Greg, and look, I will, but with your permission, I'm just going to mention I sent you a link there a little earlier for a document that covers supports that are available right across the board, not alone by the local enterprise offices. It is this document that I'm holding up there. You have it. It's called Supports for Businesses Impacted by COVID-19.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's written in a COVID-19 context, but that having been said, supports are supports are supports, and it's equally applicable to Brexit or anything else. I really like this document. It's updated very regularly. The version I have in my hand here is of the 6th of November, last 4 days ago. If there is something that interests a business, that might be in that tourism, hospitality, you got Falch Ireland stuff in there. There's the relevant links are included in it. There's the general stuff like the revenues, employment, welfare support scheme. There is the Department of Social Protection, their ones. There's obviously the local enterprise offices, Enterprise Ireland, Board BIA, the local authorities when they had the rates restart grants. All of those, they're in there. They're taken down when they're no longer current. That document is available on the local enterprise office websites. It's available in the Department of Business, Enterprise and Innovation website, and I'm sure it's available elsewhere. Well worthwhile for businesses to engage with it. Coming back to your specific question as to what's available through the local enterprise offices, well, we have a range of supports, and again, starting off, some of the supports and the tools that Emer had mentioned in her conversation with you in the context of the scorecards and the checklists, they're also on our website. Same thing, ourselves and Enterprise Ireland obviously work hand in glove and stuff like this. And they are there, recommended that businesses complete them. It'll give them a good assessment as to where they're at. Local enterprise supports in very broad terms. We have got mentoring, including specifically mentoring in the Brexit context. We run a range of customs workshops, which goes into a lot of the details on customs duties and customs documentation and what may or may not be required. Tariffs and a flavour for what they would cost you. And by the way, the overview is that the customs duties are generally, they are quite low. The the exception being, and very much the exception being, tobacco products, food, clothing, shoes, and quite a number of foodstuffs when they can be quite high. Tobacco, for example, for anyone that would be importing that is 45%, but there are some foods that are not very far behind it. And that type of stuff is all covered in our customs training and customs workshops. We obviously continue to have our financial supports. That's grant aid for the clients that qualify, which are basically manufacturing internationally or potentially internationally traded services, and certain tourism type services can qualify for employment supports. We have access to the various worldwide networks and supports. I mentioned earlier the Enterprise Europe network, which helps businesses to look beyond our own shores and look overseas. Trading online vouchers is a significant support. We have had them prior to COVID and prior to Brexit, but in the context of both Brexit and of COVID and Brexit, the demand for them has gone through the roof, and understandably so, because in those contexts, moving your products and your services and your offering online and increasing your online offering makes absolute sense. So I think those are the key one. We obviously refer people to the Intertrade Ireland type supports for moving goods in and out. We work on an agency basis if businesses are looking for small loans up to €25,000 with Microfinance Ireland, and the advantage of coming to the local enterprise office and that 1% discount on the interest rate that applies. So there's a lot of stuff out there. It's on our website, localenterprise.ie/Sligo in our case, or whatever county you're from. Yeah. But please do remember the document that I referenced earlier, because that is the Bible as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so that the document you mentioned earlier on is one of the frustrations we have as a business is, where do I get all the information in the one place? And what you're saying is this document you referenced earlier is a great place to find out everything in the one place. So just for anyone that's there, that's a shortened link which will take you there. It's bit.ly/Irish Business Supports. So bit.ly/Irish Business Support will take you directly to that document that John referenced. One very last thing, John, because I think it's fantastic. I've yet to hear anyone that hasn't said something hugely positive regarding this, and that is the customs training that you guys offer. So we can find out more about that at localenterprise.ie/Brexit. But tell us a little bit about the customs training.
Well, there are customs training workshops. They're provided by people with expertise in customs training. And as I was mentioning earlier, Greg, the objective of them is to basically to let businesses know what's coming, what they need to be prepared for, what is involved in trade with Great Britain or through Great Britain after 1 January next year, and what may be involved depending on whether or not a deal is done. And the essential difference, not the only difference, but the essential difference is whether or not tariffs will apply. So that is the key thing. If there is a deal, we can expect that at least in the majority of cases, there will not be tariffs. But regardless, there will be customs documentation. There will be delays at ports if that documentation is not completed properly, because customs will not release goods. I have no idea what type of flexibility they may operate for a short period, but rule of thumb is customs expect, as does the EU, that documentation is properly completed. It's needed even at the level of statistical purposes and all of that. So that is the type of stuff that is covered on the training workshops. They will flag to you about use of customs clearance agents and where to go to source those people. probably would also reference, I would think, that right now there's about 1.9 million customs declarations annually being done in Ireland. Come the first of from 2021, the numbers we're talking about is 20 million. So that is an enormous increase.
It's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. So just to kind of wrap up, John's piece, when in doubt, reach out. So get in touch with your local enterprise and enterprise office. Attend the training that's available there for you. So knowledge is power. If you have a concern or a query, reach out and ask that concern and query and get an answer. As ever, the number of phone calls is crazy, and obviously a lot of staff members are working remotely. So if you don't get through on the phone, drop an email. Just a last point to physically make. I want to kind of wrap up just with you guys, just with some of the highlights of some of the links that we mentioned today. So I'll throw them up on the screen. So local enterprise office support is localenterprise.ie/Brexit. There I've been making notes. There's Brexit templates, there's custom clearance workshops, there's mentoring, and there's even an avenue to find other local enterprise supports like the trading online voucher. So a very, very good resource. Enterprise Ireland's website, which is where the Brexit readiness checker is prepareforbrexit.com. So check it out, prepareforbrexit.com. If we're interested in the customs grant with Enterprise Ireland, you can find that at bit.ly/customs grant. We also have the Brexit readiness checker, which we referenced before, which is prepareforbrexit.com/Brexit readiness checker. And then the general business supports link that John had referenced, the Bible, as he'd referenced it as, is bit.ly/Irish business supports. And then there's another Brexit support there, government Brexit support, which is a government support, is enterprise.gov.ie/Brexit. So take a screenshot of that. That has all the links to all the places you need to look at to ensure that your business is Brexit ready. So very quickly, let's just say goodbye to our fantastic guests. So from me, Greg Wyatt, goodbye. A huge thank you to Emer. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom. John, you were on fire. You said, oh God, I don't know how I'm going to speak for so long. Shut up. You had so much knowledge to share. And of course, Simon from Hubcat. Superb guests. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best.
There you go. They look exhausted after all that, don't they? So, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you very soon for another Lunch and Learn. And I'm going to leave you with those links. We'll see you very soon on another Lunch and Learn.
Your local enterprise office, helping your business respond.